Hello, I am back after my technical difficulties. Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I've been like, I rebooted and reset the YouTube, and my stream was frozen and it wouldn't let me delete it. It wouldn't let me restart it. It wouldn't let me do anything. And finally, after all this time, I've been able to end the stream. It took a long time to end that stream because it wouldn't let me end it. And so I'm back. I'm back with part two, part two of my unboxing. So sorry about that. If you were watching a minute ago, my first technical difficulties, it does kind of put you in a panic because you're in the middle of something and it just stops. And, I've watched other people where they had technical difficulties. So I'm really glad that I was able to get that fixed. And I know what the problem is. My computer is it needs to go to the Apple bar and get fixed. It's got some problems. It's basically out of memory. And, I really would rather get a new computer than take the memory off and keep using this one. But by the time you buy a new Mac and add all the extras, tax tag and title, as they say, and add all the warranties, I mean, it's a $2,500 event to $3,000 no matter what you do. So I just been putting it off, and I'm running out of time. I'm running out of the ability to keep putting this off. So I'm going to have another solution. So anyway, I'll sit here and ramble for a minute to see if anyone comes back who was with me before my live stream took a nosedive. And I will continue my unboxing. I've just got a few more things, but I have lots to say about what I call retail triage. And there's really becoming an art to finding out what the best way is to liquidate what you have and to what audience to get the most amount of money. And, there's all kinds of audiences out there, and everyone has a different idea of what's valuable to them and what they're willing to pay. And I just have a lot of years of experience of selling things to different kinds of people for different reasons. And so, depending on someone's reason for buying something is whether or not they're willing to pay a premium or not. And so, for example, this back here, this vintage Moschino piece, anyone who were to buy that would pay a premium for it. They're not trying to get it, not for me anyway. Like for me, for what I do as a vintage Moschino specialist is I look for the rarest pieces I can find, and I ask a premium for them. And so what you're paying for is all of the hunt and peck and effort that goes into retrieving these pieces from all over the world, gathering them up all in one place in different sizes where I can find multiples. So that's just right there for someone to buy. And you betcha I'm going to ask a premium for something. And some of the jackets I've sold, I am back, Miss Deals, Miss Mary Deals. I don't know how to say your name. Mary. It must be like some sort of like cute catch thing. I get the deals part, but the first part I'm having trouble with. So anyway, thank you. People are willing to pay a premium, and those are people who have the budget to pay a premium. And if I'm gonna sell something, right? Why wouldn't I pay it to sell it to the person who's gonna pay the premium? Like, why wouldn't I? Right? So so something to think about, all the different audiences. And people who want vintage clothes are very vast. Museums, collectors, people who are a part of design teams who are looking to be inspired. And for a long time, I was scratching my head when people would come into my consignment shop and go, "Oh, I'm with so-and-so design firm. I work with brands to help them be inspired." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm like, "What is that?" And it's like a subset of the fashion industry where the whole thing is that brands have to determine what their line is going to look like. And that has to come from somebody somewhere. And since there's nothing new under the sun, as my mama used to say, "Now, daughter, there's nothing new under the sun." They go back in time to see what other people have done and be inspired by the designs of others. And in fashion, you cannot copyright your design. You can only copyright your brand. And that's why you see a lot of knockoffs, and you see brands putting so much money into their label and their logos and their branding. Mary Deathy Deals. Mary Deathy Deals. Mary Death. Mary Deathy Deals. Okay. Mary Deathy Deals. There we go. Deals is fine. All right, Deals. Thank you for making it easy for me. I'm having a hard time. Um, so yeah, so there's all kinds of reasons people buy things. So I'm going to show you something that was not able to be sold on ThredUp, and that is because I was not willing to sell it below a certain price. So hold on, let me show you what that is. So this Balenciaga wrap, this is ginormous. It's got the logo. Okay. This is completely useless. Okay. This is completely useless. I mean, it is. And who is going to buy this thing? Well, let me tell you who's going to buy this thing. So Rihanna, about 3-4 years ago, wore this Balenciaga shearling long fur wrap over a denim dress in an article in Vogue called Summer Furs. Summer Furs. This is an oxymoron, right? Summer furs. You gotta love it. So anytime a celebrity wears something, you know, just it's off the charts. And I did a video on that. One of my early videos, not any of my live videos, back when I was just really sticking my toe in YouTube. I did one about how when celebrities wear something, it really increases the value. So this Balenciaga shearling wrap, which is, you know, good for a photo shoot. It's good if you're going out at night where it's going to be cool. Here's see what the brand tag looks like. Paris, and it was 20. It has the fur sticker and all of this. And this was original retail was $25.50, so $2,550. And so who's going to buy something like this? You got to ask yourself the question. Well, who's going to buy something like this is probably a stylist like myself who's trying to get something for clients that, you know, when these things come out, people scramble to find them. And I did sell one to a stylist in California who will remain nameless, who bought it from me at full price and paid $25.50. I did not pay that for this item, but she paid full price for it because it was sold out everywhere. And I acquired these when they went on clearance at Neiman Marcus. When because it's such a weird, okay, think about it. Nobody's gonna buy this. Nobody's buying this, right? This is useless. And so when things like this are created, because it's a runway, it's meant to get, you know, mentions in press and things like that. I mean, something like this, they know nobody's buying because they need to be warm. It's useless. It's a runway piece. It's just meant for show. So when these went clearance at Neiman Marcus, I bought a number of them. I will not say how many, a number of them at a really good price. And then when they went on clearance again, I told the guy, call me if you have any left and it goes more on clearance. And he did. And so I bought a number of them. And so I had a number of these to sell. And so I sold one at full price at $25.50. So I knew that there was someone on the planet who'd be willing to do that. And since then, I've had many, many, many offers on this of different prices, everything from $500 to $800 to $1,200 to $1,500. I've had all different kinds of offers on them. And I haven't sold it because I have ways of getting that money elsewhere. And I've been kind of playing with the market on where else can I sell these. Now, here's something to remember. This came out 3-4 years ago. It was so popular, Balenciaga put it out again this past season and raised the price to $27.50. So the price went up $200 because it was so popular. And if you go online, other than mine that are for sale that you can find on eBay or on Poshmark, they're all basically $2,500. And so, you know, it's kind of up to me at what point. I mean, I'll make a profit regardless. At any of the price points I would mention, I would make a profit. I would, you know, get back more than what I paid. But the point is I'm holding out for someone who's going to understand what this is and who can appreciate it and pay me the premium price that I'm looking for. So obviously that customer is not at ThredUp. When I first sent it in, many, many people were watching it. It had like like over 100 watchers, I think. And lots of people would put it on reserve, but then never buy it. And I was hopeful it would sell on ThredUp because they were only going to take 10%. So it started at $19.95, and I was just reducing it. And by the time I pulled it off ThredUp, it'd gotten down to about $1,500. And I'm like, nobody's buying this. Let me just get it back. My time is up. I'll just get it back and sell it elsewhere. So one of the elsewhere places that I've been in touch with is The RealReal. And The RealReal has sold this exact shearling wrap for $19.95 many times. So I know if I send it to RealReal, they will be able to sell it for $19.95. And they have examined the photos, not the actual item. And if I go through with it, they have said they will price between $18.95 and $19.95. And if it sells at that price, I think they only take a 20% commission. So at 20% of either $18.95 or $19.95, that's much more money than I would get selling it through ThredUp, because that customer is not there. That customer who's going to pay $2,000 for this is not sitting on ThredUp's site. They're sitting on The RealReal with all the luxury brands. And so, you know, it's a learning. Now, they offered to buy this from me for $250. Say what? Am I going to sell to them for $250 when I've already sold one for $2,500? No way. But nice of them to make an offer, ThredUp, but just not going to do it. I would not. There's just no way I would sell this for $250. There's too many other ways and too many higher offers I've already had. So that wasn't going to happen. So anyway, this came back. This one's going to go to RealReal, and I'm going to try them out. And if I can get that sold, let's do the math, shall we? Pulling up my iPhone right here. Let's say RealReal sells it for $19.95 times 20%. I'd get $15.96. But if they only sell for $18.95 times 20%, I get $15.16. So I'm getting $1,500 to $1,600 regardless by sending it to The RealReal. Let me tell you, that's what I'm going to do. Oh no, Alexa. You were saying, you know, Alexa, I was telling, is it, no, it's Siri. I'm sorry, I called you by the wrong name. I'm telling Siri that I'm talking to you guys. So anyway, I'm going to send it to ThredUp. I'm going to send it to The RealReal. You see why, right? I had already gotten it down to $1,500 at the ThredUp with no interest. And so I got it back so I can sell it at The RealReal at $1,900 and get $1,500 out of it after their commission. So, and that is still higher than any of the offers I've gotten on Poshmark or eBay for this item. So that tells me that The RealReal is the place for this to go, right? So I won't be sending them all of them at once, because the way The RealReal works is if you send multiples, they post them all at once. And if I send in like 2 or 3 of these, they won't seem as scarce or as rare than if I just send one at a time. Because I've learned, because I'm on The RealReal site all day long, every day. And I know that when there's multiples of something, I'm like, oh, that was just some store liquidating what they couldn't sell, you know, and it doesn't seem special. And I don't want that experience. I want whoever sees this to go, oh my God, I've been waiting for that. I'll buy it, click, it's gone. And so I can get my money in about 30 days with The RealReal. Now, what I haven't decided to do is I had signed up with them individually, and then I realized I needed to sign up as my business. And that's the only reason I haven't mailed it in yet, is because I have to send them some additional information to sign up as a business. All right. Hello, Misha. Thank you. I'm glad you came back. I had some technical difficulties. I'm trying to sort them out, so I really appreciate it. Deals. I could see someone using that interior design. Absolutely. You could like nail it on the wall, hanging on a curtain. I know we could make curtains out of it and just have like 5 or 6 of them across where the curtain should be. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to send it to RealReal, because that makes sense, right? Just saying. So I've had an offer for $15 for this on Poshmark, but they're going to take 20%. So why would I leave that money on the table? It's $300, so I wouldn't do it. So now this is the other thing that came back. This was the Balenciaga boots that did not sell. So one of the things I want to mention about these boots, they got some glue on them, but these are New in the box. So this is important to note. I sent them new in the box. New in the box. Right? Brand new boots. Nobody's been in these boots, right? New in the box. And these I bought, this was one of the 63 pair of shoes I bought at the Barney's warehouse sale 5 years ago before I left New York. And I have sold a couple of pair of these. I've sold one on ThredUp for $700. No, sorry. Got to be platforms in my head. I'm so sorry. I sold one pair for $700 on Poshmark. I sold one pair for around $800 in my store. And I think that's it. I think I've only sold 2 pair, but I have a few more pair left. And so ThredUp is not the place for this. These started at like $900 and I got marked down to like $600 or $500 with no bites, and I got them back because I already know I can sell them for more elsewhere. I won't send this in probably to the Real because I've already looked at what they want to sell this boot for, and it's not enough. So the Real is terrific for selling luxury really quickly, as long as you don't care how much they sell it for, because their whole model is to underprice everything, so it sells very fast. They sell most of their stuff. They sell the bulk of their inventory within 30 days, and really the most of that within a day. They push out inventory twice a day, and you have to be a part of their special members program to see the inventory before everyone else. So as someone looking for rare Moschino, I'm spend $10 a month for that program so that I can see it before anyone else does. Meaning me and everyone else, every other million people who bought the subscription. So what's happening is that the Real is growing so much and getting so many designer things that are of interest to collectors and museums and people who are, and stylists looking for great pieces, that there's now a big chase. It's like the drop for Supreme, but it's the drop for the Real. And I'm sitting there twice a day, refreshing on my phone. And today I was so excited because there's been what I call a dry spell because Real, like anyone else, doesn't get in things every day, and what I call the good stuff doesn't come in every day. And just because I see it, it doesn't mean I was, of all the people refreshing on the app to get this stuff first, people beat me to it, but sometimes I beat them to it, right? So I've like cried over things that someone else put in their cart, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that thing is so amazing. I never had a chance to buy it at any price. And so it's really disheartening to miss out on stuff. But today, there was no missing out. Man, I got something really good. And when I get it in, I'll show you something vintage Moschino that's quite special. So that's okay. They got the other stuff because I got what I wanted. But anyway, back to the boots. So these will go back on eBay. I say back on eBay. They're still on eBay. I sent actually ThredUp where I had a multiple. So this size is still available on eBay and on Poshmark. And so basically I just have another pair back to sit with my inventory until it sells through. So I'm looking around to see what else. And that's what got returned. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. So give it 1 second and I will continue. Okay. So yeah, so when you're thinking about how to dispose of things, and I was talking the other night in a chat about, how to go about learning what's desirable when it isn't your background or your experience. And so many times I see people who are resellers that undervalue what they have to someone like me. And people who are looking for things are looking for them every day. And every single day I'm looking for vintage Moschino and other things that are on my list. And so what people don't realize is that other people are looking for vintage Mugler or vintage Alexander McQueen or vintage Pucci or whatever they're looking for. But there's certain designers that are highly desirable, certain pieces from certain years by certain folks, and people are trolling the internet, going into stores, trying to find the person who has it, who doesn't understand who they are, who that person is, who's willing to pay a premium or, to find it because it's so rare or hard to find. And there's a couple of ways to figure out what this stuff is that I want to go into, but not before I look in the chat. Let's see what's going on over here. And sorry, my nose is itching. So, oh wait, my palm, it's my palm. I'm getting money. My nose, somebody's talking about me. Are y'all talking about me? You sure are in the chat. Hold on. Let's see. The summer for shopping on eBay, looking for a jewelry lots. I don't do much. I don't do anything with jewelry lots. I do see those jewelry jars in the Goodwill, and a couple of times I almost bought one, but I always put it back because it's just not familiar. I'm like, because sometimes they'll be $24. Other times they'll be $34. $34 for a bunch of junk. I'm like, I don't know, because you can't bring it back. So I haven't done that yet, but I know people who do them, and they tell me that there's real gold in every single jar, and that they're the people who do scrap gold. So that's really cool. So anyway, back to the people who are looking for the good stuff that you have that you don't know what it is. So a couple of ways to kind of reverse engineer who these people are. So starting with like the cream of the crop, the sites like First Dibs, the people who are museums and collectors of beautiful things. Like you have the Costume Institute in New York. You have London at the Albert and Victoria Museum. They've got a Mugler exhibit going on right now. And if you search on the internet, fashion designer museum exhibits, you'll find a whole list of people that have exhibits going on this year. And every one of those designers are people that should be on your radar, because if they're doing a museum exhibit, they're basically fashion history, and the pieces are just going to go up and up in value, and that there are people looking for those pieces to put in museum exhibits, to collect for themselves, to have as a stylist, because a lot of times stars want to wear, vintage Moschino or vintage Mugler or vintage McQueen. Now, where are they going to get all this stuff, right? So they're constantly looking for it, and they're willing to pay a premium because they know that they can sell it for even more to someone else, that end user. Now, there are a couple of things I would suggest. There are what's called traveling road shows for vintage clothing. I only found out about them a few years ago, and I never went to one, and finally did. And this is the place where it's like a pop-up shop for a vintage clothing store in a gigantic hall or an area where like everyone has a partition. And you put your wares out. And the people who come are people like you and me who just love nice clothes. They could be fashion designers. They could be design teams. They could just be, I went to one and Kesha was there, the one I went to, and she was just shopping with a friend of hers looking for something cool stuff to wear. And the pieces were not cheap. They were not cheap. And I saw everything from Moschino to McQueen to Jean Mark that I showed some of that vintage stuff I had the other day, like to Pucci, to vintage denim, and people would specialize. And so in that environment, people are willing to pay more. And so kind of what I've learned is that the same garment in different environments garners a different price point. So if you put this jacket in the Goodwill, it's going to be like, they'll go, oh, it's special, we'll put $14.99 on it. If you put this jacket in a consignment shop, maybe they'll put $150 on it. If you put this jacket in a museum or in a vintage Moschino, somebody special in vintage Moschino might be, $700, right? It has different price points to different people depending on what they see in it or what they know it to be. And so the people who are into vintage, this is a rabid group, man. They're out there hunting and looking for things paying $500 for denim they're going to sell for $1,500 to someone else. And you have to understand that if something's worth thousands, they're going to be willing to spend hundreds. So you have to know what that is so you can get your hundreds instead of your tens, right? And it's just a matter of research and time. And so if you look again, like I said, in what designers have had or having museum exhibits in 2019 or who had them in 2018, any one of those designers should be on your radar. Let's see what's going on in the chat. That is such a great point, Jenny. Scared money don't make money. That is so true, Nike Boxes. He's back. He told me he was a guy because you don't want to assume Nike Boxes is a man. This is a male. So he says, I don't know. I'm not there. He's just an icon with a cool name. So when I had the Vintage Moschino event at my consignment shop, I sold vintage Moschino jackets for $895. A couple of them to a woman. I sold dresses for $500 and $600. These were things that I paid $75 for, $50 for. So you have to understand that which pieces are rare, which is unique. This could be any brand, like Tom Ford, who worked for Gucci, who worked for Yves Saint Laurent. His pieces are highly desirable. All the stuff he did before he took a break from fashion and then developed his own line. If you see this stuff, you need to buy it. And you need to spend a couple $100s on it because you can sell it for $600 or $700, $800 or $1,000. Some of these shirts and jackets. And if you don't know what it looks like, you just go on the internet and research Tom Ford for Yves Saint Laurent, Tom Ford for Gucci, and look at this stuff. And they've got wonderful archives on Gucci. So there's no shortage of images that you're going to see. And it'll help you familiarize. And one of the reasons I know what all this stuff is by looking at it is because I spent my entire life researching brands and their what do you call it? I'm losing my train of thought. Their group, their coordinate group. I don't know what I cannot find the word, but when they put out their coordinate groups or for their season, right? If for 16 years when I lived in New York, I went into Saks Fifth Avenue and Barney's and Bergdorf Goodman to see what the designers were putting out, I have 16 years of knowledge of what they did, right? And so it's kind of in the database. Before living in New York, when I was in Atlanta, I have all those years of going into Saks, going into Neiman's, going into department stores, looking at this stuff, right? When Azantine Elia died, every piece we had by him sold in our consignment shop within 24 hours. When Karl Lagerfeld died, we sold out our Chanel within 2 weeks, and one of the rarest pieces sold within hours of his death being announced. And when these designers pass away, suddenly there's global awareness and re-interest in what they did. People who are collectors, people who want to get the brand. They're out there scouring and scavenging. Gotta get my words right. Everywhere to get these pieces right now, while people are, just realizing his stuff's going to be even more valuable. And as I mentioned in a different video, we actually had one of the rarest of the rarest of the rare suits, the one that sold within hours of him dying. And I just didn't remember, like, the part of my brain that knows to pull that offline and to triple the price was in a deep slumber that day. And when it sold, I remembered, oh my gosh, that's right. That was that rare suit. And it sold immediately. And I'm like, now I didn't have to fulfill the order. I could have canceled it, but that's not good karma, That's not a good way to run a business. So we took our money and learned a lesson and reminded myself that whenever these designers die, Everyone wants their clothes. The other thing is like the Costume Institute, the Met, when they do that big fashion event every year, there was got one coming up now. Whenever they do that event and announce who the designers are, those designers sell out on our website. So they did Comme des Garçons recently. They've got something this year that's going to include Moschino. They did. They've done so many designers. Like there's a whole list that they just published in the New York Times, I think, or Vogue, one of those that lists all of the events they've ever had and who those designers are. So that's who you should be looking at. That's who you should be researching. You should be following who the current designers are and figuring out if there's a museum exhibit, if there's a gala, if they're being honored, if someone has passed. I mean, these are the people who are going to, their items are going to rise in value. Let's see. Nike boxes. Moschino. Yes, Moschino. Miss Deals. Absolutely. Let's see what Misha says. I mix in designer with cheap all the time. Absolutely. High, low, baby. Great luck finding pieces overseas at TK Maxx and other Luxe shops, selling it for big profits here. Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is the thing. Brands play differently in different countries. And, you know, in Italy, in Germany, where, you know, we all get this, we get the same stuff, but not the same stuff. Meaning there's a range of outfits by a brand for a season. And then the buyers of that department store select what they think they can sell in their market. So that market in the US is different than the market in Germany, which is different than the market in Italy. And they may even offer different items for different countries. And so an old Moschino jacket running around Italy may not have any cachet for anybody, but it might to someone else, right? And to the new the Nanny Schmata exhibit that's going to be coming out in New York, where it's going to feature these clothes that the character, the nanny, wore in the 90s. So he's busy looking for Moschino and Todd Oldham and Christian Lacroix and trying to find all the pieces that are the same ones that she wore in the show. Now, if you know that, you know, that's information you can act on. And what's interesting is that this is a very niche, it's a niche, right? So if you're busy playing to the lowest common denominator, which is you want to buy your Gap, you want to buy your Ann Taylor, you want to flip your whatever, that's fine. But there's money to, if you can buy a jacket and sell it for $600, you need to know that, right? Because I'm going to come buy it for you for $50 and go sell it for $600 to someone else. And if you don't understand why people were willing to buy that at that price, then you got to learn it so that you can protect yourself. And there's so much out there. This knowledge isn't going to reach everyone who needs to know, and that's fine. And there'll always be a bargain to be had somewhere. But you're really missing out. And there's so many things to learn about how to sell to different markets. So, you know, museums don't overpay for stuff, but they're looking for stuff. And a lot of the museums have some of their collections online. You can go search, you know, the Met, or there was a Moschino faux fur jacket that they had. I think it's online for the Met Costume Institute in New York. And there was one online for sale and I missed it. I'm tortured. I've only seen one in years for sale, years. And there it was, it sold for $270 something to somebody. It was being offered for sale from someone in another country. And whoever bought it paid under $300 for something that a museum currently has in their collection. And I'm still not over that. Let me tell you, I didn't set an alarm. I didn't remember the auction. And even though I bid on it early, so I'd get a notice, something happened. I got distracted. The notice came on the phone and I missed it. I'm crying, man, because I know how rare it is. And if you look at the auction, I think only there were maybe 3 or 4 unique bidders at all. So 3 or 4 people anywhere in the world who could access that auction, who even saw it or knew what it was and knew what to do about it. So, so the idea is to understand that even I, as much as I know and learn this stuff, I make mistakes. I miss out on things all the time, you know, and I'm learning myself. And there's some things that have been in my consignment shop that I knew were great, but I didn't know they were freaking amazing. And I learned learned it after the fact. You know, we had this one Alexander McQueen silk blouse. It was something special. I knew it was something special, and I tried to go online. I couldn't find the same thing. I'm like, I don't know, you know, I got to price it and get it up online. And I think I priced it for $600. It sold in like 5 seconds. Turns out it's one of these pieces that got, not the exact piece, but the same collection and something similar was in one of these museum exhibits. And, you know, that's me, who's someone who's in this industry and studying this stuff. I missed it. So I should be selling it for $2,000 or $3,000, not 600. And someone else might have it for $150 in a different consignment shop who didn't even understand what it was. And all Alexander McQueen is not created equal, for sure. But you can look at something and pretty much know it's special, right? Am I right? You know of something special. And I don't mean it's special because it's your style. I'm talking about it's special because it's amazing. The quality, the craftsmanship, the brand, its uniqueness. And if any of y'all study this stuff that's been selling for you and you look at it closely, you will find that the most unique pieces are what sell. And also in the best condition. And I've seen vintage Moschino that was just not in a condition to be purchased. And so unless you need it for the buttons, it's got to be good condition. And one of the things I learned in the acquisition of vintage and in the purchasing and selling of it is that if you want the pristine stuff, the stuff that's new with tags, it's out there. It's out there. Never worn with tags sitting in people's closets. And it hasn't surfaced yet. But in the beginning, I wasn't as focused on condition. But as I got into it, condition's everything. So I've actually been purging and selling things that have a flaw. If it's not perfect, I mean perfect, I don't want it in my vintage Moschino collection because I can replace it with something in pristine condition if I keep looking and impatient. And then the other things I'm purging, as a matter of fact, I sold one jacket on Poshmark that was Moschino, and it was a beautiful jacket, but it was just a little too faded for me. And it wasn't as vintage as I wanted. It wasn't like from the 80s. So it was probably from early 2000s or late 1990s. And I sold it. It was under $100, like $80. And I was thrilled because I still made money on it, but I got it out of here. And so, so yeah, that person got a nice buy. They got a nice jacket. They probably they're not a Moschino collector, but they got a nice piece. Get the free sniping app for your eBay so you know for sure you won't miss it. Saves and makes me big money all the time. I will. What's it called? What's it called? Sniping? Is it just that what it's called? I'm learning to pronounce things. Okay. I never knew how to say Moschino. You know, a lot of people mispronounce it and they say Moschino, but in Italian, you're going to say Moschino. Like it's just how the Italians would do it. My first sale was to a TV show set designer and they wanted Rush. I was like, OMG. It's always Rush in the entertainment business. What are you talking about? Do you have Worth Point? Yeah, I've seen Worth Point, but I'm not as concerned about value as I am acquisition of it. Like I'm more interested in acquiring it and getting it in my hands than Worth Point because I wouldn't even look at WorthPoint for Moschino. I would look at First Dibs, because First Dibs is really the premier online. It's like the Rolls Royce of online shopping for vintage clothing and furniture. And pretty much the most anyone's charging for anything, they'll have it on First Dibs. And so that's really where I look. Snipe things last seconds, literally 1 second. Yeah, because like if I snipe like at 8 seconds, it's like a lifetime. They just get in there and make all these bids. Like I've lost a couple things like that. Yeah, I'll check it out. So Nike Boxes, is it actually called Sniping app, or is there a name like is it called something? Is there a brand name? Because I would totally do that. Absolutely. I'm gonna take a little sip here because my mouth is dry. I like my blue glasses. I got these at Out of the Closet in Pasadena. I don't buy anything new anymore. I really don't. It's kind of ruins you. The reselling kind of ruins you for regular retail. But there's a point at which I'm overwhelmed with buying used, and I just want something new because I just can't stand it anymore, if that makes sense. Like it's just like, okay, my whole life is recycled, but now let me go have just one pair of new something, right? There's a different feeling about it. So I do get overwhelmed with so much recycled things around me. Auction bid sniper for eBay on the iPhone. All right. Well, Nike Boxes, you're in my part of town. All right. I'm going to make a note of that. I'm going to take a picture right now, what that says. I'm taking a picture of my chat. There you go. Thank you very much. So one of the things I suggested in another chat for people who don't have like luxury in their town, who want to learn about it, because a lot of this can be done online. And I would suggest anyone just who isn't familiar with this, just testing out a few things because you have nothing to lose. But if you go to places like website for Harrods, the website for Bergdorf Goodman, the website for Barney's New York, the website for Saks Fifth Avenue, Neiman Marcus, and Bergdorf Goodman. Did I say Bergdorf Goodman? Those are really, every single brand on those sites is going to be luxury and a little less. And so you have no excuse not to know, because you just go to bergdorfgoodman.com and you go under designers and look under brands and look under suggested brands on the homepage. And it's either brands that have paid them to suggest them, or it's the most popular ones. Because there's a lot of brands people have never heard of that are highly desirable. We all have heard of Valentino and Comme des Garçons, and we've heard of, Alexander McQueen and Chloe and Chanel and Balenciaga and Balmain. But you might not have ever heard of Libertine. And if you know anything about Libertine, man, they're known for raw hems and in crystals and embellishments all over their jackets, and they sell for, they don't think anything twice about putting $15,000 on a coat. And I've seen some of those coats on The RealReal. You should actually look on The RealReal. If you have not looked on therealreal.com, that's another great place to really study the brands. Because if it's on The RealReal, it's selling and it's what people are looking for. But Libertine is a real niche brand. I mean, very few people even carry it in the United States. And Bergdorf carries it. And even used, these jackets are, on average, $700 on The RealReal. On average, a basic blazer with crystal embellishments on the back. Usually it's a skull or it's birds or hands or something like that. So that's one that you might not be familiar with. Junya Watanabe. He's a Japanese designer. You may not have heard of him, but he's highly desirable and one to look out for. But by studying these brands, when you see it and you go to Bergdorf Goodman and it says this boot, let's say, was $1,500, That's very different. And you go, okay, typical resale is 50 to 75% of retail. So maybe I should price these anywhere between $500 and $750. But say you go and you look at comps on eBay, and the last pair you saw sold for $150. You're like, I guess they're worth $150. Wrong. I look at comps on eBay, but it doesn't really move me. That is not how I price anything, because I'm dealing with the buyer that I'm trying to find who's interested in paying a premium for what I have. That's the buyer I'm going for. I'm not going for the cheap and cheerful buyer who is, super budget conscious and just needs to spend as little as possible to get whatever they need to get. I'm looking for the person who's going to pay a premium. And so I'm going to price it. So if I've already sold one of these at $700, why would I sell it for $300? Doesn't make any sense. It's illogical. First of all, it's a okay, let's talk about this boot. I only see one flaw with this boot, but I'll tell you, this is a classic, like moto boot, ankle boot. This could have been for sale anytime over the last 15 years. It's a classic style. It's unique because it's got the silver hardware. It's a brand people love, Balenciaga. They've stood the test of time. It's made in Italy, leather sole. You could wear this with jeans, with leggings, and a tunic. Good for people who are in cold weather. The only flaw I see on this boot is that it seems super flat. Like, you know how a lot of boots have like more going on at the bottom? And needs to say, I have tried this on. But other than that, they could be putting out this boot the next 5-10 years or more. This same boot, change the color. Like this style is what you call stable. It's stable. Moto boots sell all the time. Moto jackets. So based on the style, based on the condition, it's new in the box, based on the brand Balenciaga, based on the original price, which it says was, I'm looking on the box, over $1,000. The color, that's really different, that kind of cement, that kind of off-white color. Yeah, why would I give it away? It's awesome. And I'm going to put respect back in the brand by pricing it in a respectful manner. And I'm not going to give it away. And I, part of the way I think about reselling is I'm putting the respect back in the brand, because the same thing that was sitting on the runway at full price makes it to the department store, gets out on the rack. People look at it for 30 days or so. They pay full price. These days, you now pre-order, which is the new shtick for department stores, because there's so much competition on the other end of the retail kind of chain. It's all about the pre-order, having it first, paying a premium, paying a deposit, you get it in your size before anyone else. They do all that. It comes into the store. It's full price for a while. They have it online. Then it goes, 25%? Then it goes 30, then it goes 50. They're clearing it out at 60. It gets us 75% off. So the same item within about a 3 or 4 month span that was beautifully respected at full price is now sitting on the clearance rack, getting scratched and tugged and shop worn, and it's going to sit there until someone gives it a home before someone gathers it up and puts it into the outlet mall, where they then price it up again or leave it the same amount at 75 off. And then it goes through that cycle of getting marked down and more shop worn and more picked over to hopefully get purchased at that. So, when I recover something from an outlet mall, or I buy it in a clearance center, or I find it somewhere online, and I kind of resurrect it and I put life back into it and say, you know what? This thing is still amazing. Okay, a year has passed, but who cares? This is amazing. It's so amazing. I'm going to price it as if it still is on the top of its game, and all this ridiculous retail chain that we have doesn't apply. And I will show you something really exciting, and this is a true story of resurrecting something from the runway, from an outlet mall, selling it on eBay, and getting a premium for it. but I got to go get it because I wasn't planning on this. So hold on and I'll show you what it is so I can finish my story. All righty, I'm back. So this jacket this is a second one. So one was purchased at the Neiman's outlet at Cabazon, which is near Palm Springs, because I'm in California. It was new with tags, a little tiny size, and like a 2, I think a size 2 or 4. And I did not know it at the time. I just took a look at this jacket and I said, this thing is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And it was on clearance, and it was approximately $250 for the jacket. It was originally like $2,500, $3,000, something like that. And we sold it on eBay. A woman paid full price, $1,200. And she says, I am so excited to find this piece. I've been looking for it since I saw it in Vogue magazine. So it's what you call a runway piece. So when I found another one, I said, I gotta get that because I know somebody's looking for it. So this is it. This is not new with tags, but it's Givenchy. And this is a big size. This is a large. I mean, which is kind of interesting. Look at the back. Really cool sleeves. So like this is, anything, just, anything that's lace up sells, at least for me. So look at this thing. And this is like a knit. It's super structured. It's like a knit. So, this, because it was advertised in Vogue, because there are people looking for this, because people look for things and maybe they missed out on them when it was in the store and it haunted them. They're still looking for it today. Somebody's looking for this. And we got it. And they're going to be paying me over $1,000 to get it because I resurrected it from an online source for such a low price that not only will I make a profit, I'm going to make somebody really, really happy who wants this. This is like amazing, good for like a photo shoot, video shoot, stage. And that's how I think about things. So I'm not concerned what comps are on this. I'm only concerned with what was the original retail price. And the fact that it appeared in Vogue is Givenchy, and it's amazing. So I don't care about comps at all. This is going to sell based on its unique style and its brand and the fact that this is a very, very special piece. I'm not talking about a basic pair of denim shorts here. I mean, this is a specific piece. It would be great on a stage, on a photo shoot, for video shoot, for Instagram, who knows, for a fashion show. It could be so many things. But that's an example of something we did do and did sell. And I found another one because I got it memorized now. I know that people want this. And so if you haven't bought in a while at the grocery store like a Vogue magazine, or if you haven't gone online and looked at the Vogue online version, there's really no reason anymore. You can't know what's going on in fashion. And I think that because the money is where the brands are, the big money is where the big brands are, that you've got to educate yourself on what that is. And I happen to know because I spent a lifetime in the luxury brand environment, primarily as a shopper. So I know who that person is who's willing to pay $1,500 for a jacket, or doesn't blink an eye at $800 for a pair of shoes or a Louis Vuitton bag, because I've done it. And it gives me a very unique perspective on the thinking behind people who will pay this. So the person who's going to pay $1,200 for this coat is the same person who would have paid $2,500 for it new. This is not the person who would never, ever pay $1,200 for something. And this is the thing people need to understand, is that many, if not most, I can't say all because I don't actually think it's true all, but Most of the people buying luxury in my consignment shop buy luxury in the real world at full price. And so they feel like it's a bargain. Oh my gosh, it's only $1,000, man. I saw that for $3,000 up at Neiman Marcus. I remember that when it came out. Like, they know quality, they know brands, and they have a history of paying. Here's my card. You ring it up, send it to my house. This is who this buyer is. And so I like that buyer. I want to cater to that buyer. I want to find things that buyer is willing to pay a premium for and have them buy it from me. And I love that so much that that I want other people to love it too and to understand what that is. And there's plenty of room for everyone to do this. There's no competition here. This is there's this appetite for luxury is global, right? It's global. It's not going anywhere, and it's a unique thing in our culture, our global culture, that we are so brand focused that this is where people are finding meaning in their life. Is and it changes over time. I mean, we used to all be into music, used to be the big thing, and now we're into clothes, right? And so there's money to be made in providing things like this to people who want them. And I have no problem with selling Zara or any of those basic things that turn and, give me that operational cash that I need to function. But what makes me excited are the big names and unique pieces that I find, because I love clothes. I love clothes. And unfortunately, I've got to sell them because that's how I make my money. But if I didn't have to sell them, I would not. I would just stare at this and appreciate it and hope others would too. Cabazon, Nike, you are stalking me, dude. Nike boxes have been in my city and in my outlet mall. My grandma would get something from the Goodwill, and when people asked, she said she bought it from Neiman Marcus. Absolutely. It probably came from Neiman Marcus. What are you talking about? Where do you think this stuff goes? But yeah, if you have the next time, if you haven't spent a lot of time in one of these luxury stores, and you got to get to the luxury floor, right? You can go to Neiman Marcus and still not get to the luxury floors, right? You got to, if you can, walk the halls of the luxury brands in the stores and look at how it's made, look at the construction, feel the fabric, look at the quality, and look at the prices. You see a cashmere coat for $3,000. You will not sell it for $100. I watched a reseller sell a cashmere coat by Max Mara for $100. I'm like, after they'd done their research, you did not do the kind of research I would do. You did comparable research on eBay, which doesn't mean anything to me, in getting the maximum for cashmere coat by Max Mara. Are you kidding? We sold one in our store for $995 used. So why are you leaving $800 on the table? I don't get it. And so I think the thing is that people who don't have the lifestyle where they've been around these brands, paid for it, and experienced it, don't understand the mentality of those who have. And, you got to get into the mindset of the people who are going to buy this stuff. And one way you can do it is to go to the websites and see. You will faint if you look up like Valentino or Alexander McQueen, and they want $1,500 for a blouse. You know what I'm saying? Like $1,500 for a blouse? You got to know that. You got to know what the retail price is. You can't just look at the comps, because the comps do not tell you the whole story. And the whole story is, who is this brand? What is the heritage? Where does it come from? Why is it valuable? And the key is not why does it cost so much, but why is it worth so much? I took that line from Shop Around the Corner, that movie with Meg Ryan, where they're in there and he's asking the guy about the antique book, and he says, $100? He goes, why does it cost so much? And the guy says, no, it's why is it worth so much? And that's what you've got to ask yourself. is why are these luxury brands for a reason? Is that people don't bat an eye at paying thousands of dollars for a coat or a jacket or a blouse or a pair of pants. Now, this is, 1% or the 1% of the 1% who's going to pay full price for that. The rest of them are waiting for it to go on sale. So don't get me wrong. Luxury is not about paying full price for luxury. Luxury is about obtaining quality at the best price possible, right? So the customer who buys it at full price versus 30% versus 50% versus 75% versus the outlet mall is still acquiring luxury, right? And experiencing that, but at different price points. Look, I have a subscriber. Uniquely Me just subscribed. I don't know if you're watching, but thank you for subscribing. So, wow, I've worked up a thirst here. Talking, thinking somebody's enjoying what I'm saying. I have no idea. That sound advice. Ooh, compliment. Thank you so much, Amisha Renee. Picked up steals at the St. Laurent outlet. Nike boxes, now you're making me sad. Now you're talking my language, is the St. Laurent. Yves St. Laurent, or now St. Laurent, is highly desirable brand. And if you can find that stuff. Look, I make money buying things at the outlet mall, but I'll be honest, it's still too expensive in most cases. And the best deals I've ever had on luxury were buying at the Barney's warehouse sale in New York City in the last 3 days. So it was 75% off to 75% off, which is basically 90 or 95% off of retail. Whoever's got a calculator, you can let me know. You're buying $1,500 shoes for $100. I guess that's 90% off. And I made so much money on what I bought there. And unfortunately, they don't have a Barney's warehouse sale here in the LA area that I'm aware of. And if I'm wrong, I hope I am, but pretty sure they're only in New York. And the New York sample sales, I have found amazing things there. Like a Kritsia fur coat I paid $125 for and sold for $1,400 on eBay that was made of Mongolian lamb fur in a really crazy chartreuse color like green, perfect for Lady Gaga. Let's see, drink up. YSL shoes, look at the price there. Most are 7% off. Well, I'll tell you what I did do. My last outlet buy was my hair. I gotta figure out what to do with my hair because it's itching me. Sorry about that, guys. When I went to Texas, where my family is for Christmas, we went to Austin, and outside of Austin is an outlet mall. And I did buy some things at the Prada store, and I got 4 pair of boots, and these were all like $1,500 boots, $2,000 boots, whatever, $900 boots. They were all like $100 a piece, so they were 90% off. And I had those mailed to me, and then at the Neiman Marcus outlet, I got 2 pair of Christian Louboutin boots. I've got to rephotograph them because the photos do not do them justice. The photos are terrible. Oh my gosh, if you go to my Poshmark store, you're going to say, what are you doing? I tried to put thigh-high boots in a light box. So they're really sad. They're like leaning over. They're like all leaned over. So look, no wonder no one has bought them. It's embarrassing. I got to rephotograph those, but I got those at the Neiman's Outlet Mall because people love Christian Louboutin, the red bottoms, and they love thigh high. So it's someone like a Kim Kardashian kind of look. It's very, very specific, perfect for a photo shoot or a video or an Instagram shoot. It's just a matter of getting those in the right hands. The Barney's in Cabazon has only been on sale once that I have been there. Great. Nike boxes. I say we once, my business partner and I, we went to the Barney's outlet and we were able to find, what was it? It was Christian Louboutin for men motorcycle boots in leather. And they had 2 pair and we only bought 1. That thing sold so fast on eBay. I didn't even know. I mean, I knew Louboutin made men's, but I just had never seen it. and we paid us just very little for these boots and sold them for $2,000, and just in days. So you can occasionally get something you can make money on at the Barneys, but there, you got to hit it just right at the Barneys. The Barneys, listen to me, it's like the Facebook. You got to hit it just right at Barneys, because their sale schedule is a little weird, and I don't understand their schedule, and I don't get out there as often as I should. So I probably miss out on their best deals. There's a huge market for sneakerheads. So do you buy sneakers at Barney's? Is that what you're saying? Because I don't know sneakers, and that's why people have called me for sneakers, but I haven't studied it yet, so I'm not ready to not ready to take in any sneakers. But I do want to learn about it, because it's when you're in this industry, like having a consignment shop, we get calls constantly for furniture, household goods, wedding dresses, sneakers, and we always refer them away because it's not anything that we deal with at this time. But I do know that when you're in one segment of resale, you tend to become aware of all of it. So what I know just enough to know that it's best not for me to deal in sneakers right now. Unless it's a Louboutin, that's for sure. Yeah, Louboutins are amazing. Absolutely. Let me move my thing back. So where was I? I was rambling. So yeah, so back to the whole concept of the video, which is retail triage, which is trying to figure out where to go for what to get the most money. So we've learned today that my Balenciaga scarf is not the right outlet. They don't have the right customer for that. And I wouldn't make as much money. I'll make the most money selling it myself, right? But short of that, because I have multiples, I will be sending one to Real for them to sell. And then when they sell that, because I'm assuming they will, because I know they will, they've sold out of everyone they've ever had. I will then send another, but I won't send them all at once, because I won't drown the market with multiples, even though I have them, because it will not seem as special. Other outlets, I've never taken anything to another consignment store since I opened mine. It wouldn't make any sense. And now that I'm on Poshmark and eBay, I don't see taking it to another consignment shop. I'm not ruling it out. It just doesn't make sense. I should be able to sell it. But looking at these things I got from ThredUp, they came back. Maybe I should reconsider, right? I might. But buy, sell, trade stores, another way for merchandise that I've been unable to, say, sell at ThredUp, that I don't think is right for eBay or Posh, or I don't want to repost it. I could easily just take it to a Crossroads or a Buffalo Exchange or Plato's Closet and see what they say, because I have nothing to lose. But what I won't do at this point is donate any of it at this point, because I think it's all sellable in the right environment. But what's interesting is it's sort of like when you have a piece of real estate and it doesn't sell, you got to take it off the market and let it sit a minute and then repost it and kind of refresh. So it needs new energy around it. And I think it's the same for clothes as it is real estate and things like that that don't move right away. Yeah, Nike boxes. I do go to Barney's there. Again, and I've bought there and I've resold there, but it's not a primary of mine. Number one, because I don't have a Barney's credit card, to be honest. I can buy out the whole store at Neiman Marcus because they use the Bergdorf card there. So or Saks. I got that covered, but I don't have a Barney's card. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, Barney's warehouse sale is where I got the most bang for my buck, but the stores, it's still too expensive. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So in terms of the retail chain I was talking about, all the way through the regular store into clearance into the outlet mall. And then after the outlet mall, it goes to the warehouse sale. And that is the best place I've ever seen to buy luxury. As a matter of fact, I met a guy hold on, who will remain nameless, when I was living in New York, and I met him at the Barney's warehouse sale. And it's one of these weird, it was like the meet cute you see in the movies, because I had one shoe and he had the other one. And I'm like, here's this Azandine Elias shoe. I don't really like the style. Now, this is before I would have bought it in hindsight, knowing that that brand just sells well regardless, but it really wasn't my style. And I didn't want to buy anything I didn't like to look at for myself. And so I just gave to say, here's the other half. He goes, oh, and that's how we started our conversation. We meet cuted over the Christian Louboutin. No, the Azantine Elias shoe is what it was. And he went on to say that what he did was that he built relationships with the managers at the Barney's warehouse store, at the Barney's store at the outlet mall. And they would call him whenever a truck came in or some such thing. And he was what you call a bulk buyer. So he would spend like 40 grand at a time. So if you ever want to get somebody's attention at an outlet mall, you tell them you got about $40,000-$50,000 to sell, I can guarantee to spend, they will call you. He would spend 40-50 grand at the stores in the outlet. Then when they had the warehouse sale, he knew those people too. And so he said they would work with him in terms of bulk buying the things that he wanted. And he said the trick was he already had a buyer for what he said he already had a buyer for what he bought before he went into the Barney's warehouse sale. And I think he said it was someone in Italy or someone else who was reselling. So he was basically buying it and not trying to sell it to the public. He was buying it to sell to this middle person who was going to sell it to the public. And he was saying he had started out as a regular eBay seller, and that he learned in order to scale what he was doing, he had to get into a bulk situation, right? And if you got $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to spend, you're going to get a lot of attention, from the manager, because they have sales goals to meet. They got to move this stuff, right? And to them, it's just a piece of merch, right? They don't have any emotional attachment to it. They don't love clothes. They're not in it the way I am. So anyway, he would bulk buy, build these relationships, and then sell it to this middle person. And he told me, he goes, Jennie, all these ties that I bought from Barney's, he says, I went for 4 brands. That's the only ties I wanted. The Prada, the Armani, and 2 others. I don't remember what they were. And he goes, I only go for 4 brands of ties because those are the only ones that are guaranteed to make the money on. And I buy every single one by that brand. Then I sell it to this guy in the middle who sells it to someone else or sells it himself. For suits, he only bought like 4 brands of suits, right? So it was very, very narrow in what he was looking for. But he says in order to scale, you gotta bulk buy, and you gotta bulk sell, and you gotta find that person to sell it to. And he said he traveled, I think he went to Europe and met with some people over there that were in fashion, and he networked around until he could find the right person who would want to buy something like that, because they're out there. So, I think having a narrow focus can be beneficial I think you've got to grow into it. I think you've got to realize that being so spread out with so many different brands doesn't serve you. It doesn't serve anyone, actually, in my opinion, which is only my opinion. We know at our consignment shop that the same 5 brands sell all the time, and the rest sit there and are a happy accident when they move. And so it really becomes a sourcing issue. Is it, how do I get more of the good stuff? Meaning the Chanel's, everyone knows Chanel sells, everyone knows Louis Vuitton sells, everyone knows Gucci sells. But of those 3 brands, which sells the best? Anybody want to guess? This is my quiz. Which sells the best? Gucci, Chanel, or Louis Vuitton? And this is based on my experience in my store and what I know, not based on anyone else's store. So what do you think sells the best? Well, I am just overwhelmed at all those responses. No one's going to guess. Nike Boxes says Chanel. Does anyone else have an answer? Ms. Deals, do you know? Which one do you think sells best? Female forward. We have Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Chanel. All right, no other takers. Well, Nike Boxes, you are the winner. It is absolutely Chanel. Anything Chanel. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter. Chanel is number one. And so if I had to pick one brand and I could only sell one brand, it would be Chanel, period. And I would not mind spending $500 for a jacket because I know I could sell it for $1,000. The jewelry is off the charts, the chain belts, the faux jewelry. It's really, really, really hot. It's just off the charts right now. And, it really helps that, you've got this new Chanel Feral collection that's just come out to appeal to a new market. Obviously, Karl Lagerfeld, the head designer, has just died. Celebrities love the brand. They love the logo. It's all about logos these days. So that is the number one brand. And so if I had to pick one brand to do nothing but look for and sell that I felt like would always sell, it would be Chanel. Yeah, Mikey Boxes there. Yeah, it's crazy. And the thing is, people who have it, they don't necessarily know what its value is. You might say, you might bring a Chanel belt. Maybe they think it'll sell for $300 and maybe we sell it for $1,000. And they're like, what? Some of these belts go for $2,000 if they have a lot of embellishments on them or like chains and charms and things like that. Anyway, so that's it for today. I'm exhausted. I had my chat this morning. I went to work all day, and now I have my chat tonight. And I am running out of things to say. So let's just cut it. I've been on over an hour. I can't believe it. So thank you, everyone, for listening and joining in. If you like what you've heard and like the topics, please let me know. Leave a comment below. So I need some comments, man. Give me some comments. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. You'll know where I'm going live, which could be at any time because I'm on West Coast. Could be in the morning, could be in the afternoon, could be in the evening. But I really appreciate your support. I'm new at this, and I'm growing my channel, and I'm trying to get the word out. You can also, there will be links in this video a little bit later, but any of my other videos have the links. I have a podcast on iTunes called Closet Conversations. I have a Facebook page called For the Love of Consignment, Retail, and Resale. You can join. I have Jennie Girl Loves Poshmark page, and I fill them with news articles on what's happening in the industry so we can all be informed. And that's it. Well, have a great Wednesday, hump day, and I appreciate your support, and I look forward to seeing you on another video, and hopefully I'll do these daily. So be on the lookout for the notice, and I appreciate your support, and have a great evening. Thanks for staying up with me, guys. Bye-bye.